Hi guys, charity shop gold or garbage. Like all YouTubers, got myself a Ferrari, because mine's a toy one. Cost me £1.99. New bright. Let's have a look at it. So it's got a bit of detail inside the back window. This is all stickers that are peeling off. Missing one mirror. Let's try and pronounce it. Fiorano, Ferrari. Somebody will tell me what I'm supposed to pronounce. Missing the battery box cover. Looks like one of the fairly typical New Bright chassis that will fit almost anything. And then they just space it out a bit to fit it inside whatever body shell they decide. I do like this body shell, it's nice and lightweight. Doesn't make the car very fast, unfortunately. It's still just got a tiny, normal, cheap motor in there. No differential, just forwards and backwards. Steering works. Obviously it didn't come with a transmitter, they never do when I buy them in charity shops. So I've got this one, which forwards and backwards are actually reversed. That's actually forwards when I'm going backwards. Steering's the right way round. I do have a proper New Bright transmitter. And it does work. The right way round, but I get less range with this one. So that one forwards is the right direction. This one backwards is forwards. But they're both the right and the right left. We'll just run up and down in the kitchen for a little bit. Then I might be tempted to stick a LiPo battery on it or something to give it a little bit more range. It's not fast. Yeah, it's not exactly setting the tyres ablaze, is it? I expect absolutely fresh batteries. It might be a little bit better, but if you know me, I just use cheap Poundland batteries anyway. So I might just take it apart, add a lead in it so that we can connect a LiPo battery into it. It uses, well, let's have a look. It's 4 AA batteries, so it's only expecting 6 volts. So if I stick a 2S LiPo in there, we're probably gonna cook something, either the transmitter or the motor. Because a 2S LiPo is 7.4 volts, so that's already one extra battery compared to the 4 there. So that's 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. So if we had another one, it would be 7.5 batteries, or 7.5 volts. That might cook it. It might survive. I think I might just do it for the fun of it. I mean, it's only cost me £1.99. It's a nice looking body shell, but it's underpowered. I don't do fast, but even for me, that's pretty slow. Hi guys. So I've got my Ferrari Fiorano, new bright, 40 megahertz, missing the battery cover. It works, but it's very short on range. Now that might be because I don't have the right transmitter to match it, or it might just be that it doesn't have very good range. And one thing I have found is because I tend to use cheap Poundland batteries, they don't get enough power. So I can either go out and buy some decent alkali batteries, and that might help, or I could try overpowering it, in this case, using a couple of LiPo batteries, a 2S LiPo battery. Now at the moment it's got 6 volts, 4 AA batteries, so 4 times 1.5, 6 volts. When they're absolutely fresh, there'll be a little bit more power than that, a little bit more voltage, but nominally 6 volts. If we want to go LiPo, LiPo is 3.7 volts, 7.4 volts, 11.1 volts. It's in stages of 3.7 volts. So 3.7 will be way underpowered for this, and 7.4 will probably be overpower, especially when you know that a freshly charged 7.4 volt battery, LiPo battery, is actually 8.2 volts. So we're going to go from expecting 6 volts here to sticking 8.2 volts into it, which may well just burn it up. But it only cost me £1.99, so we'll give it a go. And if we see the blue smoke, then we know we've overdone it. The two things that might burn out are the motor, but that will probably survive as long as I don't run it for too long. More likely it will be the chips on the receiver, particularly the power chips, I'll call them, the H-bridge, depending on what sort of H-bridge they've got in there. It's a little bit small, that screwdriver. That's a bit better. I do like this new bright Ferrari, simply because it's got a very lightweight body on it. Right, we'll have a look at the receiver. Right, I'm guessing, because I'm not going to bother trying to trace the wires out, but I'm guessing those 4 small transistors there, I'm calling them transistors, are the H-bridge for the steering motor, and those 4 larger ones there will be the ones for the drive motor, because they can carry a bit more power. Right, we'll just see if we can see the numbers on the chips. So that's the actual receiver chip. And then over here, Those are what I'm calling the power transistors. So is that 8772 and DP80. So that's the drive motor H bridge. And then these four, I'm pretty confident, will be the, sorry, those are the steering motor H bridge, those four. And these four will be the drive motor H bridge. So if I'm going to stick potentially up to 8.4 volts through there, these are the ones that I would expect to go, simply because they're the ones that are driving the drive motor, and if we get any problem here with the drive motor overheating, if it shorts out, it will draw too much current through here. These might overheat and melt, or one of these is going to overheat. So it just depends what current they can carry. The receiver board itself is directly soldered to the battery box, so that big lump of solder there is a peg coming up from underneath where the battery box is, and so is that one. In fact, that must go off to the on-off switch somewhere. The on-off switch is these ones here. So power from there along this track around the outside through the on-off switch, and then it will be coming in through here. Right, so what I'm going to do is just connect to there and to there, in other words directly on the back of the battery contacts, with a JST connector, so we can plug in a LiPo battery. So it will still go through the on-off switch before it gets to the board. Quick check underneath, and the battery's actually labelled plus there and minus there. So that is the negative and that is the positive. So we should just be able to go straight on there like that, solder them on, and that'll be job done. What I will do is first of all I'll poke this through the existing holes here. So we'll be able to put the battery, the LiPo battery, in the battery box. So this means that we can still use ordinary AA batteries, but we can also now run it off a LiPo battery. This is the aerial. I just wonder if I can just put a bit of solder on the end of it because it keeps catching on things. Now at the moment, with the controller that I want to use, forwards and reverse are reversed. So I could swap those conductors over. And do that if you can squeeze those bits of wire in with a pin. Or you could resolder them on the motor end, whichever way you prefer. I'll see if I can just swap them over on there. It's just a little metal plate flicks up, and if you can push it down out the way, there we go. So move that one over to the other side. That one over. I'm going to have to just lift that little peg up again so it grips properly. That's better. So now we've just reversed forwards and reverse. Right, so now just put back together. Now we want a LiPo battery. I did this the other day in one of my other videos. I'm going to use a couple of these Poundland power pods. They're single or 1S batteries, LiPo batteries in there. And I'm going to make them into a 2S by joining them together. Before I do that, I'm just going to cut these central pieces out. I have to trim that up a little bit. That hasn't come out quite as cleanly as I wanted it to, because we want the LiPo batteries to lay flat in there. But I'll do that in a minute. Right. These things come apart. That's our LiPo battery. Now, one thing I forgot last time that I demonstrated, the metal case is actually the positive terminal. So if you clamp two of them together, they're actually making contact through the casing. Got a little bit of sticky back plastic in the middle there, holding the battery in place. And this one seems to be particularly good, so we'll just cut through it. There we go. Bit of sticky back stuff there. Right, so this is positive, So if that negative terminal touches that positive there, then you'll have a short circuit. I just cut that off, and there's less likelihood of that making contact with that. Those bits are worth keeping if you're electrically minded. But what you don't do is put these two together and then try and connect that negative to one of those positives, because it's actually connecting itself as a short circuit through the casing. So I need to insulate these by wrapping some tape around them. The ideal tape is, I can't remember its proper pronunciation, captain tape. It's usually yellow actually. Obviously it comes in all sorts of colours. It's the same stuff that blue tape is, but I haven't got any, so I'm going to use ordinary electrical insulation tape. The captain tape can withstand very high heats, which is its benefit, although it's only going to be a benefit if these are overheating. These are 650 ampere hours, it says on there, which is worth remembering when you're trying to recharge these, because you have to use a proper LiPo charger. There's no shortcut, you've got to use a proper charger, and if you don't charge it at the right rate, then you're going to damage them. Of course, you could just buy a proper LiPo battery, because that'll have the protection circuit on it as well, or most of them will, to avoid over discharge. So a good idea to buy the proper stuff. I'm making this battery because it just happens to be the right thickness to fit in that battery box or battery compartment. If I stick them two together, they're less than the thickness of a AA battery, so they will fit in there with no trouble whatsoever. Right, if we wanted these are 650 milliamp hour, so doing very basic maths, which is not necessarily a good thing, if we added two together in parallel, so negative to negative and positive to positive, instead of being 650 milliamp hours, it should be 1300 milliamp hours, but only 3.7 volts. If we connect them together in series, so we have a negative to a positive in the middle to link them as a series, and then positive and negative going away to the car, then that will be 7.4 volts, but still only 650 milliamp hours. which I think is probably going to be fine for this little car. So that's what I'm doing. So I've insulated them, or double insulated them, because I insulated both of them, and now I'm strapping them both together. Please read up on LiPo batteries if you've never played with them before. You could very well end up in serious difficulties if they catch fire. Now, we need a balance lead, so that when we charge them, they charge at the right rate. I've got a set of balance lead extension cables here, or extension leads, because I needed some, and I bought a whole bundle of them. So what I do now is I chop these off so I can actually use these as the balance lead for this battery. And at the same time, what you can do is you can plug your LiPo alarm in here and you can tell the condition of your batteries. I'll just go and get one. Right, here's one of my 3S LiPo batteries, 1000 milliamp hours, 11.1 volts, 25C. You'll have to look up what 25C means. It's the amount of charge you can draw out of it over a period of time. So this is our balance lead. This is our LiPo alarm. So if we plug this in, let's do it so you can see what I'm doing. That way up. Oh, it's upside down for you, sorry about that. This is just a random LiPo battery I've pulled out of my box. So it goes through all three cells and tells you what the condition is. So 9.89 volts total, cell 1 3.4 something, 3, I can't even say it quickly enough. 3.46, 3.31, 3.10, so that one's in quite a mess at the moment and could do with a bit of balanced charging to bring it back to the right condition. What I'm thinking is if I use the full length of this, I could actually plug this in somewhere still underneath the car and be able to view it rather than it being tucked underneath in the battery container. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this one full length. I'll leave a little bit on the end here just in case I ever want to use that connector again. So I'll cut it off about there. In this case, the middle lead is blue, which is easy to remember. And because it's just a 2S, we only need a middle lead. So the negative will go to our negative. The positive will go to our positive. And the blue will go to the positive and negative that we're going to join in the middle. The series connection. Well, that's a bit annoying. Had a bit of breaking continuity there and forgot to start filming again properly. So you may see we have two batteries here. This was the battery I started with, or one of the pair of batteries I started with, and while I was working on it, the tag that is spot welded onto the case there fell off. So I had to take that battery back out again and use another battery. So this is now the 2S battery that I've built with the balance lead on it, and we're all connected up. And we'll just have a look, see what this balance lead says. If we get it the right way round. Down at that end. So 4.8 and 3. What was that? 4.01 and 3.87. So the batteries, the two cells there. So total 7.87. That's a little bit low, to be honest, bearing in mind they're fully charged when you buy them. I would say one of those is a little bit low. Not a problem, I mean I can charge it up anyway, but it's all plugged in. So we've got steering, and we should have forwards and backwards in the right direction because I swapped over the battery lead, the drive motor lead. And that battery should sit in there nicely. Although I've still got to trim out some of that plastic, as I said. I mean, there's pointy bits in there which you really don't want sticking in the bottom of your battery. So I'll trim them out with a sharp knife, and we'll stick the battery in, and we should be ready to go. Oh, I'll put the top back on. So there we are, up together with a 2S LiPo on it. Of course now it's got no grip at all. It didn't have much grip, but it had no power. Having trouble getting it to turn because it's just spinning those back wheels. I can't get it to go in a straight line. Have to go and try it somewhere where there's a bit of ground that might give it some grip, because in here it's just too slippery. Yeah, well, it works. It hasn't caught fire yet. So we'll give it a try outdoors somewhere. Just a simple thought. Somebody's going to ask what scale that is. There is nothing written on it that tells me what scale it is. But if we compare it to this Lamborghini, this one is 1/16 scale. It's written on there somewhere. Yeah, it's written up there, 1/16 scale. So I would guess the Ferrari's a 1/16 as well. It's quite a bit lighter than that one. Right. So the Ferrari, 348 grams, that's including the battery. The Lamborghini, 523 grams, including the battery. So this one's a much more substantial, heavy-duty model. This one's a typical New Bright, very lightweight. That one cost me £1.50 and is significantly better quality than the New Bright, which cost me £1.99. Still, they look like fun.
Hey, thanks for watching. There's plenty of videos on my main channel with more added daily, so don't forget to subscribe and enable the notifications to keep you up to date with my new releases. You can help keep my channel running by donating $1 on Patreon to buy me coffee. You can always find more information in the video description. Thanks again for watching.